What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to the Brown Gen. Today, or tonight, I guess, I'll be talking about Dragon's Crossing Season 3, sort of what the plans are, how I plan on winning, sort of cover all the updates, as well as maybe sort of address sort of the elephant in the room. So, before we get started, make sure you subscribe to the video, hit the like button, share the video with your friends, and get ready because we're going to talk a lot about Dragon's Crossing. So, Dragon's Crossing, as you know, is sort of this different type of Web3 game. It's an RPG where instead of farming tokens and swapping NFTs, you can really sort of make money either through the leaderboard, and by looking at the leaderboard, you can actually like crush it and potentially win tons of prizes, right? One of the really cool things about Dragon's Crossing is the first couple seasons, they sort of had different paths that you could sort of win the game. But now that we're sort of, I'd say, closer to like the, sort of to the open something to show you guys. But basically, like what has happened since is now that we have gotten to the late end of the game cycle, so we're in season 3, it is harder to make money off the NFTs. In the past, you could sort of just flip NFTs and sort of do great that way. And just so you guys know, and I brought this up on Twitter, I am no longer part of the Dragon's Crossing team. That doesn't mean I don't support the project. It doesn't mean I don't play. As you know, it's all about maximizing runway, and so we sort of mutually parted ways because sort of what I wanted to do and sort of what they could afford to sort of pay for didn't sort of jive. Still great. I still think the project is fantastic. I really do think that this is a game that has a lot of potential. And obviously, like as with anything else, do your own research. I'm not a financial advisor, so do not be looking at me for financial advice. You have to sort of wait and sort of see how things pan out, and take a look and do your own due diligence, right? I think that's the most important thing. And last season, season 2, they gave out $12,585, and we had some players actually do incredibly well. They, I think a few of them actually hit record numbers. I think Grady hit about $500, Bob Nothing, and a few others. Congratulations to Gertrino and to Bob Nothing for actually crushing it in season 3, getting first place. But just going back to Dragon's Crossing, right? As with any game, there will always be changes. Now, before I go into the changes, let me show you this spreadsheet. Now, I wasn't going to show this spreadsheet in the past because as a member of the team, I should not be, in the past, should not be sort of sharing what I'm doing and how I'm sort of being profitable. So as you guys know, I'm very meticulous on my numbers. I don't know why I can't zoom in here. Let's go view, zoom, let's make it 150. Yeah. So as you can tell here, I put the dates that I was able to sort of farm an NFT, either a summoning shard or a skill, and then how much I got for it after selling it on OpenSea. So my strategy in season 1 and season 2 was every NFT that I farmed, just sell it on the market, sell it on the floor. In season 1, because they sort of covered all the entry fees, we get to put our heroes into the season, pay $0. I sold $210 worth of items from 4 heroes. And remember, I started on day 10, right? On top of that, I got like $38 in prizing in USD. So that gave me a total profit of like $250. Next season, season 2, I paid $80.80. The 80 cents like the gas fees. And I barely made it back with the item farming the same way I did in season 1. And as expected, I talk about this all the time, right? There are inflationary items in every ecosystem. I felt like the NFTs prices would go down to a certain point. Then they would hit a floor where people sort of said, okay, this is good. The demand still sort of isn't there for people to sort of, make it go up, but they're still valuable enough not to keep going down because they're tied to help you sort of hit that benchmark questing number, right? So the objective in Dragon's Crossing is to beat the final boss in the fewest number of quests possible, and you win a set amount of money based on that. I'm not going to sort of go through those numbers here, but what I will say here is season 2, I was up like $8 just from farming, and then I made like $23 with the prizing. Didn't do so well, but obviously I had some pretty bad RNG, and I had 0 skills on my heroes. And even still, I maximized farming more than anything else because I felt like even like an hero NFT, getting an extra NFT would be worth more to me than sort of getting ranked in the top 40th percentile, getting like $13 on a hero versus 5. One item would make that difference. You know what I'm saying? We got Doug Hype here. Let's go. Mellow Green Giant. Just give me a second. I'm going to invite Doug to the stream to see what's up. Doug, I'll put it on Discord. So here you go. Give you the link. Yeah, you know what? So I did watch this video, and it did help me sort of as I was making some notes. We got the main man, Doug Hype, in the building. Let me just take off my, here we go. We'll use this. Doug, we good?
Yo, what's up? I'm here.
Great, dude. Great video tonight. I was watching it and made Cole's notes of the stuff that was the most important.
Dude, there was so much. That's the thing. They finally kind of did a thing where they dropped information ahead of time so you could kind of make decisions on what to maybe buy, builds to do. And then look what happened. All of a sudden, like, not only did Kung Fu go and snipe tons of stuff off the floor, like, before he even came on the stream, right? But then he's all like, hey, here's exactly what I would do if I were you. And then all kinds of alpha of, like, concepts of, like, strategies.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know what's funny? So, like, I told you this before, right? I was selling all the NFTs in season 1 and 2. Saw the prices come down, became profitable, but it really hampered my style because like I was not focused on the prizes. I was focused on NFT farming. Now season 3, I find that the NFTs are going to be worth so little. I actually went in right before the stream and I purchased 2 Berserk skills. I have 2 warrior NFTs, and
I thought about getting one of those too.
Yeah, I bought the 2 on the floor. And the thing was, my plan was always to sort of go buy them. But then I was sort of taking a look at sort of Gatrino's list. I know this is not updated for season 3, but just trying to see, like, based on the stats that Bob and I know Kung Fu were talking about, really it's like figuring out, what skills align best with the character's abilities, comparing them to like the ones that I have, right? So the most important thing is, where your hero is going to start. So like, I'm only going to run 4 heroes this time. I have 5. I bought one on the market for $20, or sorry, $40, sorry, $35, a Gen 0. I bought that because it was, pretty good deal. But I think one of the things that we can do is there's tons of info. I am not starting on day 1. I would not recommend anyone to start on day 1 because the additional boost of getting the hero NFTs is just not worth it. What I'm going to be doing is I will be playing 2 days behind I Know Kung Fu, and I'll be phasing out my heroes. So like,
and watching all his streams.
I'm watching every single stream and taking notes. Like honestly, like the number one, dude, these guys are
That's
fantastic.
Actually like really when he was giving, like today I was trying to make jokes basically implying he's giving away too much info, and I'm like, I literally made the joke like I'm gonna like lock this video so no one can watch it later, and he's like, no, don't do that. I was like, wow. I was like, you're giving out so much good info.
The best, the sort of, I don't want to say like I want to imitate what he's doing, but I want to learn, right? Like there's a lot of new things.
Well,
right?
Bob had good info too, and he technically even beat Brown Gent, right? He was number 1 tied with Gatrino. Right. So like, but yeah, they both gave a lot of good information.
Exactly. And like when you look here, right? It gets very complicated with the skills because the skills are very nuanced, right? The skills are very stat dependent. And
but there's certain ones that really can make an impact. Like really a good move is Berserk, Blade Form Parry, combo or something like that. Because that actually literally saved my butt in a situation against Abaddon this year.
Yeah, and you know what? Like I think focus. Like I had too many heroes last season where I was just spreading out the wealth. Because I think I was told, hey, like you got 6 points, okay, +2 this one, and then go +1 in the everything else. And it never really worked out that well. I had a bunch of people who like never sort of stood out to me. And this season, I'm going to like specifically go, okay, here's the skills I'm going to have, and here's how I'm going to groom them early on, which is what I wanted to do originally, but I wasn't going to buy any skills, right? So I used all the basic skills. And because of that, I had to get to like level 18, level 19 to beat Abaddon. And I think this season, you might have a level 16. If a level 16 beats Abaddon, that's the benchmark this season. I don't know if you're able to do it, but I think some people will be taking risks.
Well, there wasn't a whole lot of buffing to stuff as much as we thought there would be. And the biggest news really is that the fleece skills are cheaper, I guess, and maybe they're usable now, whereas before they weren't at all. Yeah. And like blade form parry is like reduced to lit. So like if you like, okay, so Rangers got buffed. Mages are already really strong. Like a lot of people ranked in the top 10 with a mage with just base skills without buying a skill, and also not having good stats that started off with them, right? They just got really good luck, and then Firebolt or whatever was good. Yeah. And also luck, a lot of luck too, right? Like they were just winging it, like I got to go for it all, and it worked out. But they, of course, a lot of these guys, they have like 45 heroes, and like, oh no, you know, they didn't have 45 heroes in the top 10 or whatever. Like there's definitely RNG involved, and they had a lot of heroes. Both Kung Fu and Bob had a lot of heroes that only made $5 last season. So, you know, I mean, they didn't have everybody up there. But like having more obviously gives you more chance for clout to like be top 10. But I feel like I'm pretty comfortable with the amount of heroes I have now. Like I have like 11 or 12. I don't know how many I'm going to register, or somewhere around there, I guess. But I'm pretty clear on like how I want to build my heroes this season already.
Oh, really?
In my head, yeah.
Because like based on what I got from the stream, for warriors, go max strength and then put the rest in quickness, agility, and focus on armor mitigation and the armor sort of amount, and then put grapple on your hero, potentially berserk and blade form parry.
Grapple's not great except for maybe the bosses, I think.
Yeah, so that's what Bob said. Grapple was instrumental against Abaddon in the sub.
Well, it's because he does something to his parrying, I think, right? So that is good for Abaddon, right? Like if you just care about that, like that could be good. But like Kung Fu even made like a chart of like the skills and how many points per skill point, like how many hit points that they give you, right. Or attack points or whatever. And it's funny because the skills that got buffed this season, like barely any of them made a difference. Like they got like they didn't like raise the needle. So right. But like something like Repost did because it's a whole another round instead of 2 rounds, it's 3 now. So there's a few things that are moving around with the tier. We're gonna maybe make a new tier list tomorrow. I'm maybe gonna stream and do that. But
one for sure, like taking notes because
I don't think the tier list is gonna move a whole lot. You know what I mean? It's not gonna be a giant difference.
Well, so there's a couple of things that I'm looking at, right? So if we look at these new changes, right? I think a couple of things I want to learn. I have no idea what the new zones look like, and I don't want to be the first one to explore on my own. That's why I watch I Know Kung Fu sort of go through that.
Well, a lot of the meta, though, is to have enough like heroes where you can go into both zones, right, and try different stuff.
But you can get proxy experience by watching everyone else do it, right?
Yeah, and that is helpful. But I'm the type of person where I'm like, I don't like to sit around and just watch. I just want to go and do it, which might not be the smartest, but like,
I just want to win, dude. Like, honestly, dude, I should be in that top 5 leaderboard. The problem is, if we made it based on profit on versus number of heroes, I would have 100% been there.
Maybe there should be another leaderboard for profits or something. But
profit divided by like per number of heroes, right? Like AP of sorts.
That'd be fun. But the thing is that, like, I think this season, they're like in the chat in our stream, they said there'll be just as much RNG or maybe more, but actually there's going to be less because, like, the pop up of the non-playable character quests and stuff, or non-playable, all that stuff's not going to count against you now, and even the side, like the split quest where you can go to 4.0 or 4.1, 2 different routes, like if you. Like, if you go below a certain amount of percentage, like if you go below 20%, it sends you back to Eidos in those new zones, right?
Yeah.
But the real thing that you have to think about is that you would have to go back and heal anyways. So, like, you would have to spend a quest to go back to heal and then a quest to come back.
Yeah.
If you're, like, in zone 3, I think, like, it doesn't do a whole lot to you because it still takes you almost the same amount of quests to just from Eidos come back. So it only gives you like 1 extra quest when that happens that it takes away. So it's not like completely terrible, right? So you have to think about all the strategy.
Because like now it's like I think it's like 19 and 20 only get you back, whereas before it was much higher or something.
Yeah, so that's different too. But I mean, like if you go below 20% in the new zones, you automatically get sent back to Eidos, right?
Wait, what?
Yeah, that's the new zones. It says it right in here. Where is it? Yeah, so it says it right there. Clip in the right in the middle where all the things are. If you fall below 20% after combat, you have a 50% chance to gain a bonus speed in these alternative zones. But like you get sent back to Eidos if you go below 20% after combat. So if they hurt you bad, you have to go all the way back.
Like no matter what.
Yeah. So, but that's the thing is you think about it. If you're in zone 3 and you go to like zone 3.1 instead of 3.0, if you're below 20%, you're going to have to go heal anyways, right?
Unless
you're going to have to use a quest to go back and then a quest to come back. That's 2 quests. If that automatically sends you to Eidos and doesn't use a quest to do that, and then you have to use quest to come back to zone 3. In fact, zone 3 might only that's zone 2. That might only be 2 quests to even come back. So
right. Should be even,
it might just be the same amount. But in zone 4, it'd be 3, so only be 1 more. So it's really not a terrible thing. And also, if you do want to go back because you want to like swap equipment or something, maybe, I don't know, that could be a thing. But
of course, no, that makes a lot of sense.
So a lot of people might really like those new zones because of that, because it's like the negative effect is not as bad as we initially kind of thought when they said that stuff.
Yeah, you know what else I learned for this season? Last season, a lot of us were going through and we unlocked a new place. Let's go there, benchmark, come back, and waste 2 quests. I'm not doing that anymore. And the other thing is, I think there's got to be some timing around how you use the smelter mechanic, right? So now you can trade 10 equipment for like 1 quest at the blacksmith. But sometimes, like I'm sure you've had this, where you're at the end of the day, you got 2 quests left, you got to heal. So you've got to plan it out so you can maximize.
Yes,
so that you get to 0.
Talks about that in their stream, where it's like. And also this new NFT where you can get more quests, right? So you can like figure out a strategy so you're not stranded there with like 2 quests in a zone and you're like, well, I can't do nothing, or even 3 or whatever it is. And then you're just like, these are just throwaways, and this sucks. If you can add another quest, you can go and heal and come back and like fight again, maybe, or do something or whatever it is. You won't just completely negate it, because then you'll actually use those quests for something like a fight or whatever, instead of just being completely thrown away. And it's all the question of like there's going to be more strategy involved this time than RNG because of, I think, those mechanics. But then of course there's the RNG mechanics of like what zone do you go in? So is one better than the other, I guess, which is kind of RNG-ish. But they're trying to balance out the game, I guess, and like make the heroes more equal. And the real big thing is that like, what are the best heroes now? I don't even know. Like our Rangers kind of third, and then mages and Rangers kind of like, because they boosted Rangers and boosted their skills too.
Right. Who knows?
So Rangers have boosted, they improve their skills and they improve the agility stat to have more crit.
Right. So it is going to be very interesting. I think the other thing is the player population is getting smarter, right? Season 1, I made more money I went less far. Season 2, I'm actually finding it hard. I beat Abaddon with everybody and made $5. I've actually made less than I did.
Well, I think it's going to be harder now too, because if everyone's just ripping off, like, I know Kung Fu, we're all going to be like really good. It's going to be like, unless his theories don't work. But like, today him and Bob gave an insane amount. He was like, hey, it was like in the middle of the night from like 3 a.m. And he's like, yeah, I'll stay up a little bit, just for a little bit. But he's like, I'm not going to do a tier list and do a bunch and stick around for a while. And the guy just wouldn't stop talking. He did an hour and a half of just giving you straight up like charts and all this stuff. And I was just like, holy moly, bro. Like, I was like, and we had not too many people watching, but like the people watching were new to the game. So he kept on saying all this like technical things or like strategy. And the guy's like, I didn't really get it. So I had to like,
how to use skills. I was watching that part. And
and I'm just like, hold on, Kung Fu, I have to like translate for you so they can understand. Because you have to understand when they're coming in the game, you have to start from basic. But then really nice things where the guy was like, hey, can you tell me what a good build would be? I'm brand new to the game. And I was like, I mentioned, we don't like giving out like full on builds maybe, because then everyone's just going to do the same thing. But then Kung Fu was like, no, I'll do it. And then he just goes blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, okay. And then we went, but also I said like, hey, if you're new, just get a mage and like, you're good to go because you have Firebolt. Like, you can like, literally you can beat Abaddon just with that. So Just if you're not sure what to do, buy a mage. You know,
Right.
you're like, I don't know left from right, just buy a mage, bro, and then just throw fireballs like this.
How many heroes are you running this season?
I don't know. I own like 11 or 12, and
You gonna match them? Like, are you gonna do groups?
well, the thing though is what I'm worried about is that I'm worried about the Warriors getting nerfed too much. Because this last season, my Warriors did really badly.
But like the Warriors didn't even do good. Like how could it get worse than what it was last season?
Well, first season the Warriors were the best.
You think so?
Yeah, no, by far. Everybody said it. Like literally, like you just ask anybody and they'll tell you the Warriors are the best the first season. Because the thing is that like with their Blade Form Perry and stuff, oh my, he was that's the only guy I even bet Yabadon with in the first season. The top 10 and 20 was like mostly Warriors, because they could just block Abaddon all day, every day. So then what happened was they buffed the mages and stuff. So then the mages became a lot better.
Right.
And the Rangers, people figured out like, custom poisons will really work well for them. So in season 2, Warriors were like maybe second and Rangers were maybe third. But Rangers kind of like got in first place though too. And now what happened is in this season, they've nerfed Blade Form Parry, where it's -1 or +1 skill point, so it's less usable because they're adding a skill point to it. And like I don't know what it is with Abaddon, but that's why people like grapple, because like it's when you have a warrior, it's sometimes really hard to like actually get hit points off of him and attack him. I had a lot of issues with that this season. I didn't have that season 1, but this season I had a lot of issues with the Warriors against Abaddon being able to hit him hard enough. And so the problem is if I would often get unlucky and he would hit me a lot, even though I was using something like Blade Form Parry, a Thunderous Bellow, and Berserk actually saved my butt. So Berserk is pretty good.
How many on your Warriors?
Because I just really needed offense really bad, and I hit on Berserk, and I was like, go Berserk, and I was like, I thought I was gonna die, and then I started smacking him around for like 45, and I was like, yes, and then we both missed, and then I hit him for like 51. And I was like, this is awesome, right? Yeah. And so Berserk, I know Berserk helped with at least one of those, probably both of them. And so I feel like Berserk for Abaddon is good. I mean, Warriors are pretty good just out throughout the game period, like in PvE and whatever. But the boss fights, if Abaddon is not getting good RNG and you're kind of having bad luck, you can get really get your butt kicked super fast with the Warriors now. Whereas the mages do so much damage that they're just better, and the Rangers might be better too. I don't know. I mean, that's the thing is like if they were the same. Now they did get a boost to riposte, right, for Warriors, where it goes for 3 rounds instead of 2. But talking to the guys on the stream that were on earlier, they don't think it's good enough for them to really want it. But I think for a warrior build, the best warrior build is to have Blade Form Parry and riposte, because riposte also gives you parry chance and it gives you crit. So it's kind of like it's like Blade Form Parry, but just added on some attack, right? Is what riposte is now.
Right.
Pretty much. I mean, it's like, balanced out or whatever. It's not quite as heavy in the defense, but that's something that could be really helpful against a boss or whatever. But people seem to like Berserk more than it. So you could do a build of Blade Form Parry and riposte, or Blade Form Parry and Berserk, or with grapple. Any of those 3 things, I think you could join in with Blade Form Parry to be pretty decent against Abaddon.
Yeah.
Depending on what you want to do.
Right now, a lot of these skills are very low. So if you're able to pick those up before people start picking.
Yeah, a lot of these are pretty good. They're not bad. Thunderous Bellow is decent. Skill that's pretty decently powerful.
Right. Once the season starts, people are gonna go in there and pick what heroes they want to run and go forward. Can I ask you a question? What's your projection on number of people playing season 3? Do you expect
it's really hard to say. Usually things over time go down because for whatever reason, people get distracted or something like that, or they don't have enough time. I don't know, whatever. Or they might have gone through with 10 heroes and now they can't afford to do it again or something because they place super low, or maybe they're placed high. I don't know. Right. It's really hard to say, numbers wise, what's going to happen. Also, the window that's open of registration versus playing, you can't register till the game goes live now. Whereas before they'd do registration, then the game will go live. If you could, the longer registration stays open, kind of the better, Because like, how do you get new players in the game if you can only register for like 5 days, right?
Of course.
Like, that's kind of hard to do.
For everyone watching, the registration goes live in about 23 hours, right?
Yeah. So for me, it's tomorrow at like 5 o'clock my time, I think, and Mountain Time.
It's like midnight here, so it must be
Or 7, or wait, no.
It's midnight
Or 9?
here.
It's midnight on the East Coast, or wait, in the middle. Wait, maybe it's what is it? Hold on.
East Coast. So are you in California or something like that?
No, I'm in Denver. So
then you're like 2 a.m. your time.
So it's telling me that it's 10 p.m. my time.
Oh, because for me, yeah, because you're 2 hours back, right? So I'm midnight.
Yeah, so it's 10 p.m. So I was considering doing a stream tomorrow when it goes live. It's gonna be late, obviously, or whatever. But like, I mean, that's the thing. I wish that things would go live in the middle of the day when people are actually on the internet, because there's not many people on the internet that late. Oh,
yeah,
my light just went off. I hit the wrong button. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's tough to. It's like it's Sunday night's really hard to get people on the internet to pay attention because they've had a long weekend and they just want to like relax and like whatever. But yeah, so like these late night starts is kind of tough. But I guess you can wake up in the morning and start playing. I wish it was at like 4 p.m. or something, because I want to schedule like events around it. I want to invite. This is the thing is I want to invite other influencers and people and be like, hey, this is the start of the season. Let's do this. But it's like tough when it's like sometimes late at night or something. But
are you doing a mega stream to launch?
I mean, that's what I do is want to do a stream, invite people come in and check out the game or whatever, and like all that stuff. But yeah, like I like doing events and inviting people to do things and everything. But that's the things, we want new players to come into the game, but there's only so much of a window. So like when this happens, we need everybody that's in the community to just like post tweets and be like, hey, you know, the game's open now for registration. Come check it out. And so, I mean, my prediction, I always think about like, you know, in fantasy football, what you have to think is like, what's the most probable, or in any situation when it comes out like to outcomes, right? Most people think about what they think is going to happen, but that's not what's going to happen. The most probable thing is going to happen, right? And then it's the same in NFTs. The most probable thing that's going to happen is like, we're going to continue on the track that we're on. And then but I feel like they said they want to make an adjustment in season 4 where they do a lot more with like making it easier for access or something like that. So maybe in season 4 we can like
see, right? Things. I do like what Mellow Dream Giant saying. They need better info on season results / dates on game site. My 2 friends have no idea what's going on unless I tell them, because they don't live in Discord. And that is so true. Like Twitter is great, Discord's great, but having on the website, having like a actual place,
that's a good point,
resource you can go to, just saying, hey, season 3, like having a timer or something, that'd be fantastic, right? Like obviously, like I know like the team is obviously like kind of bogged down with a bunch of other things, so it's hard to sort of prioritize.
Well, yeah, and there is like Twitter and stuff too, right? So like but it's people don't always see all the tweets of everything. So it's like
Mellow Green Giant, thank you for buying my legendary priest this afternoon. I saw your name come up on the tavern at DeFi Kingdom, so appreciate it. Thank you.
He is a giant. Look at him with his green hat out in the old forest. But yeah, I mean, I guess the thing was like, tell them to set notifications on the Dragons Crossing Twitter, I guess, or something, so that it'll pop up and tell them. This is the thing. If people really want to know, there's always a way to like, you can also set notifications in Discord too, but it should be the team that's doing most of the heavy work, right? You shouldn't have to do a ton of like whatever, but people that really want to, you can figure it out. Like it is tough, but like being in the Discord is part of the game though, to like talk like discussions and stuff, right?
Yeah. Sweet. No, of course. Okay, so we're almost at 30 minutes. I just want to quickly wrap up with some quick takeaways. Number 1, check out Doug's live stream tomorrow, hopefully tomorrow when the game goes.
You can go and subscribe to my YouTubes or something, you know?
You know what? Here, Doug, I'll put your YouTube link in the description after this thing is done.
Yes, YouTube/Hype Television.
Sweet. Number 2, look at the NFT marketplace for Dragons Crossing. Before the season goes up, these skills are undervalued. And here's the other thing. If less people sign up, there'll be less skills being farmed as well. And there's potential that you can get a good deal on these when people are sitting here trying to like actually buff the heroes up. Because season 1 and 2, remember, guys, I would not be buying this stuff if I didn't have to. But to be competitive this season, I actually want to sort of make money. And you see the number of the item farming is coming down, I'll need this number to go up. And the only way I'm going to get the prizes is by, one, paying a ton of attention, watching I Know Kung Fu's videos when possible. And by doing that, I'll be able to sort of like kind of keep on top of what's going on, purchasing the skills that will align with my hero specifically, and being a lot more methodical around this whole thing. Last season, mistakes. Go ahead.
Oh my! Hold on, my camera turned off. What's going on with my camera?
Okay, yeah. So while you do that, I'm just gonna say, last season I made a ton of mistakes. Accidentally clicking on like a tile, and it was moving somewhere else. I lost a quest and moving back. Every move, I'm going to be methodical on it. On top of that, we've got even more.
That was the last time I played Doug. Doug, I feel so old now.
Yeah.
Doug.
Well, that's because he is now.
Huh? Doug, I've lived a whole life.
We're live on the internet right now, too.
Doug, you know what they also played? The song from
I'm back. One
Dazed
second.
and Confused.
Yeah.
That was my favorite.
Okay.
Okay, well,
Did you
okay.
tell them I just got back from
Yeah, Valerie just got back from Leonard Skinner, okay? She's excited about Freebird or something.
Welcome back.
And ZZ Top, right? And she's complaining about being old. Wait, so what were we talking about, Brown Gents?
We're just talking about wrapping up. Hey, what are the takeaways?
Yeah. The takeaways is get a bunch of heroes, get a bunch of mages, probably. Like, just go buy up all the mages and like get and then for the other heroes, find the yeah, that was Freebird. For the other heroes, find like watch the tier list videos, find skills that you like, and go get them. Like, get the skills because then you can keep them on your heroes for a long time. And as you've seen this season, they don't change the skills a ton, right? So you can know that you can probably still use them pretty well going forward.
Yeah. Also, do not forget, like, you don't have to sign up on day one. You can stagger your heroes, watch your influencers, get as much info as possible, because now the game's getting a lot more competitive, and it's not just a straight ABC strategy. You've got to sort of think outside the box, see what else is out there, and there's tons of information on your fingertips, like Doug Hype and Bob Nothing, I Know Kung Fu, Doug Taurus. They're going to do tons of videos around like skill tiering, strategies, and everything else. Get all the info you can, and then if you're starting a few days after them, you can capitalize on everything they learned throughout the game. You sort of can see how people are doing. Do not go for these aesthetic movements. Once you beat a boss, don't just go to the zone to get that benchmark and be on the leaderboard. I was number 1 for season 2, and it cost me 2 quests to do it. Was that worth it at the end? Probably not.
Yeah, you're flexing. But this is the thing too, guys. Think about this. It's cool to like watch other people and follow them and let them go first. But you still can't really understand these monsters sometimes till you play them, because they'll like come out of nowhere and you'll be like, this monster's not that hard. And all of a sudden they just start smacking you around and kill you, right? Now, so if you have 2 sets of heroes where you send some on like day 1 or day 2 or 3, and then you wait a couple days, or you can stagger them even more if you start day 1, right? That can sometimes be a good thing to just know, like when I go into this zone, I really got to watch out for these monsters. So like your first set of heroes are almost like sacrifices a little bit,
Yeah.
like sort of like that.
No, for sure. No, that makes a lot of sense. Anything else you want to share with the?
Also, if those, but the thing is, if you start early and finish early, then it's much easier to send those your items, like your good items, back to your other heroes. So, like, if you want to do that meta of like beating the boss, and then sending the items back, the sooner you do it with your first set of heroes, the more time you have to like do that farm, send stuff, because you want to beat Abaddon and then farm a bit and find really good items for your other heroes to send to them. If you do that, like you don't want to send them like a level 12 gear.
Like last season, I got 7 NFTs. The season before, I had 9. Like once I beat Abaddon, I didn't find a single skill or shard either way, and I was.
But you can find really good item drops to send other heroes.
No, 100%, and that definitely helped. It all depends on sort of how valuable the information is, and if you can sort of, can that help you get the benchmark sooner? So definitely like phasing potentially is one, right? Like maybe you start 1 on day. Maybe you start, if you have 3 heroes, maybe you start 1 on the first day. Maybe you wait a few days for number 2, and then wait a few more days for number 3. And that way it still would work to kind of move it back. Anyways, it's like 1:30 here. I gotta get going. But thank you, Doug, for sort of being on. And Guys, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, like the video, share the video. Best of luck in Dragons Crossing Season 3. And we'll probably see you on the other side, probably in one of Doug's videos or in the Discord. Until then, have a good night. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, guys.